Did you ever hear the story about the world's largest Triceratops? Big John absolutely made some headlines last year. This amazing find was discovered by paleontologist and professional fossil hunter Walter W. Stein off of a private ranch in South Dakota. This specimen is fantastic due to it being over 60% complete, including its massive skull. So, which museum is it located at? Well, the thing is, you can't go and see it. That's because the Triceratops was sold at auction to an anonymous collector for $7.7 million. Today, I wanted to take some time and examine the world of selling fossils for profit and dig into the ethics surrounding it. I think the best place to start would be taking a look at laws we currently have in place for digging, shipping, and selling. And believe me, there are plenty of rules and limitations around fossils. In the United States, it's perfectly legal to collect fossils on private land or public land with the proper permits. If I went into my backyard and found a fossil, no matter how significant the find may be, I could do anything I wanted with it, including selling it. If I found the fossil in my neighbor's yard, it's not legally mine, it's the neighbor's. And then the neighbor can sell it if they wanted to. Finding fossils on public land can get more tricky though. Fossils like invertebrates and plants can be kept for yourself, but you aren't supposed to sell it. If the fossil is of a vertebrate like fish, mammals, or dinosaurs, then you are not permitted to remove it unless you are a professional researcher with the proper permits. Selling these fossils is illegal. However, Native American land is exempted here. Fossil collecting on this soil falls under the jurisdiction of tribal authorities. Honestly, I thought that was kind of cool to learn. I did not know that before. But of course, as laws can be complex, different states can have tighter restrictions. In some states, it is perfectly legal to collect any fossil along road cuts or state highways. In some states, it's not legal. If you have any interest in searching for fossils, I would highly recommend you first check with your local state and county laws before doing so, just to save yourself the trouble. Now, this is only the US. International laws can be very relaxed or much more strict. In some countries, fossils are considered cultural artifacts and are therefore property of the state. Some countries have strict laws against the exportation of fossils, which leads me into my next topic to segue into, and that's the black market around dinosaur bones. Smuggling fossils is neither new or even rare. It can happen in any country and tends to have negative consequences. A fossil that is removed from the ground to be sold to a private collector is a scientific loss, because without collecting information from the surrounding rock, it can become daunting to try and learn how old the specimen is or where it even came from. Auction houses that are selling fossils could very well have contraband on their hands and could honestly have no idea. Sometimes, nations get lucky and are able to have their stolen dinosaurs returned home to them. A great example of this happened in 2012 when US federal agents arrested a smuggler by the name of Eric Prokopi. After attempting to sell it at a New York auction house, Eric pleaded guilty in court to smuggling the bones of Tarbosaurus bataar, a relative of T-Rex, that resided in the Gobi Desert of Mongolia. This is a country that prohibits the commercialization of natural history, and fossils cannot be exported out of this country. Needless to say, the sale did not go through. the Mongolian government caught wind of the auction and sued for the recovery of the Tarbosaurus. Working with a network of people, Eric had extracted and moved fossils all around the world. Once the bones had reached Great Britain, Eric had only then allegedly realized he was dealing with contraband, yet imported them anyway. Prosecutors described some shipments as intentionally mislabeled to pass inspection, largely being described on customs forms as reptiles. The dinosaur, meanwhile, was returned home. The specimen was given the name Mongol Batar, or Mongolian Hero. Legal or not, a handful of rare fossils are auctioned into private hands for amounts of money that most people can't even begin to imagine. But you know who can? Celebrities. Yes, there's plenty of Hollywood actors who want not just any old art for display, but fossils. You've most likely heard of the time where Nick Cage bought a Tyrannosaur skull for $276,000. He was contacted in 2014 by the Department of Homeland Security due to the suspicion that the skull was smuggled. Indeed, this turned out to be another stolen fossil from Mongolia. Nick Cage voluntarily returned the skull to its homeland, so that's a happy ending at least. Another entertaining story comes from the time Russell Crowe bought a mosasaur skull for $30,000 from Leonardo DiCaprio after a lot of vodka back in 2008. So it's clear that there are plenty of people who are willing to buy ancient bones, but is there any harm to it? Well, let's take a look at my fossil collection, for example. I have things like teeth, plants, and marine life that I've collected over the years. Now, most paleontologists wouldn't be too upset with me over this, because each of my fossils are extremely common. My fossils have no particular value to science because they can easily be found by anybody for $20 or so. The more rare the specimen is, the trickier things become. As recent decades have shown, if fantastically rare fossils are for sale, the bidding wars can get intense. The fact is, museums aren't always going to be able to compete with millionaires. They can effectively price museums out of the market for fossils. Once a fossil has been sold to a private collector, it is essentially considered lost to science. This is due to the fact that private collectors are in no way obligated to share their fossils with the public. These specimens could have valuable information that will possibly never reach the scientific community. And believe me, when there is a market for something, the cost can skyrocket. In 2018, a pair of dinosaurs were sold in Paris for $1.7 million each. They were of Diplodocus and Allosaurus, and are about 150 million years old. That same year, a mystery fossil was bought at $2.35 million. It most closely resembles an Allosaurus, but it has a few differences that set it apart as a possible new genus not yet known. The shape of the pelvis, skull, and teeth are of interest here. The identities of both the buyer and seller are unknown. And of course, I couldn't talk about the monetization of fossils without bringing up Sue. The whole world watched in 1997 as the largest and most complete Tyrannosaurus rex ever to be discovered was sold for $13.5 million. This specimen is 42 feet long and is about 67 million years old. Sue had been successfully purchased by Chicago's very own Field Museum. But the institution alone would not have been able to afford Sue without help from companies like McDonald's and Disney, of all people. This specimen has been invaluable to the paleo community as Sue is over 80% complete and is also easy for researchers to access. Unfortunately for the world, paleontologists are not able to access every Tyrannosaurus with such ease. In October of 2020, another specimen of T-Rex was sold at auction. You remember how I said Sue sold for $13.5 million in the 90s? At the time, that was the highest amount ever paid for a fossil at auction. Well, the T-Rex Stan was auctioned off at an unbelievable $31.85 million. Yeah, over $31 million. I swear my monkey brain can't even comprehend such a price tag. It is simply just unreal. And yeah, you guessed it, it's another anonymous buyer over the telephone. The fossil had been residing at the Black Hills Institute when the bones had been prepared. Yep, that is the same institute that dug up Sue. Luckily, dozens of high-quality casts have been made from the bones of Stan. This allows scientists better access to Stan, even though they can't reach his actual body right now. While casts of Stan are on display all over the world, it is still a mystery as to where its new home is. The public may never see the real thing ever again. And keep in mind that there are less than 50 known specimens of T-Rex to have ever been found. Now, the ethics of selling pieces such as this can be complicated. As for my own opinion, of course I feel that those responsible for the hard work that goes into excavation and preparing fossils deserve to be compensated. Specimens like this can easily take over thousands of hours to work on. It's just a shame to watch them disappear. These animals deserve to be studied. Who knows how much information is currently locked up in someone's basement? At the rates fossils are going at, museums simply can't keep up with the staggering costs of rare finds. When scientists can't afford access to our ancient history, we are only prevented from making the next big discovery. I'm beyond disappointed that some of these dinosaurs could possibly never see the light of day again. I don't know, I just hope things can change. Thank you guys for watching this week's video. I'd love to know what you guys think about this fossil commercialization. I understand that not every person will feel the same, but I had been wanting to bring attention to this for quite some time now, so I'm happy I got that off my chest. Feel free to comment down below and maybe consider giving this video a like if you learned anything new. Thank you so much again for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.